In this video, we will be learning how to evaluate expressions raised to the 0th power. There's really only one thing to remember. Any non-zero number with an exponent of 0 is 1. So for example, 2 to the 0th power is 1.
Why does this equal 1 instead of 0?
Well, a number raised to the 0th power is not the same as being multiplied by 0. We should instead think of it as being multiplied by itself 0 times. We can think of this a number of other ways. One way is to pretend we don't know what a number to the 0th power is and try to get a pattern. Let's take 2. So here's 2 to the 0th, and we don't know what that is, so let's go a little bit to the right, 2 to the first, and 2 to the second, a little bit to the left, 2 to the negative first, and 2 to the negative second. Now, we know what some of these are. For example, 2 to the negative 2 is 1/4. We know 2 to the negative 1 is 1/2. 2 to the 0 is still a mystery. 2 to the first is 2, and 2 squared is 4. Now we need to try to identify a pattern. It seems like to move to the right, we multiply by 2, and to move to the left, we divide by 2. So let's try to get to our mystery number from both the right and the left and see if the two answers match. From the left, we take 1/2, multiply it by 2, and get 1. And from the left, we take 2, divide it by 2, and again get 1. So since these two answers match, it seems that 2 to the 0th is indeed 1, as we thought in the first place. All right, now let's try some examples. First off, let's take 2/3 to the 0th power. We see that 2/3 is a non-zero number, and since any non-zero number raised to the 0th power is 1, 2/3 raised to the 0th power is 1. Now we take negative parentheses 3 and parentheses to the 0th power. This is a little bit more complicated as we have to remember order of operations. First, we look at parentheses, we see the 3, then we look at exponents, and we see the 0. So we raise 3 to the 0th power. Now, this negative really means negative 1 multiplied by 3 raised to the 0th power. So what happens is we simplify this 3 to the 0th power to 1 and get negative 1 times positive 1, which equals negative 1, our final answer.
What if the negative sign were inside of the parentheses?
Well, that's a good question. Let's try an example with that. Take negative 3 inside the parentheses raised to the 0th power. Again, we do order of operations, parentheses first. We see that negative 3 is a non-zero number, and since any non-zero number raised to the 0th power is 1, negative 3 raised to the 0th power is 1. So our final answer is 1.
Any non-zero number raised to the 0th power is 1.
Exactly.